Huh? Last time we came down here, what? It is a pretty spot. Because the way that water's coming down off all that rock in there is really cool. So, hello guys. Today is moving day. I checked in on these guys last night. And I kind of noticed that even with adding, the other different variety of worms that I've added, there's kind of a big explosion of population in here. And so I decided it is time to move them into their new abode. I just wanted to show you, since adding the swamp worms, look at this. It's like nice and soft and fluffy. Now I did rotate them, the soil, last night, or their bedding, I mean, and I think when I move them, there's still a lot of moisture in this thing. So I'm probably going to be adding some coco coir into it, because I did notice that there's not really a whole lot of coco coir left in this bin. Look at all the little wormies, they're busy. So I'm probably going to be adding some coco coir into it when I'm moving them. But look at that. They have been busy. And with the addition of the swamp worms, this bin seriously took off. So I'm actually really glad I got the swamp worms added in here, because they were working on it, but it's like it's different, with just, say, red wrigglers and the European night crawlers. But I have noticed a big difference with adding the swamp worms in here to the, overall what is getting broke down. So there was a bit of carbon in here, which so far the swamp worms are, they have been working on a lot of the carbon. And, there's so many cocoons in here. Like, there's kind of everywhere cocoons with the amount of moisture that is in this bin. And what I'm worried about is, with them being in, this tub with the amount of worms now, what's going to happen is there's going to be a huge, huge explosion once they all start hatching. So I am going to be putting them into their new abode. So follow along with me as I move them over. And there's enough here that hopefully, I don't know how much overall is going to be in here, but I think what it's going to basically work out to is, because the amount of what's in here versus how big this is, I'm probably going to end up having to still work the wedge down to, get it into its proper actual setup, since this bin is just kind of a free-for-all. No matter where they go, there's going to be food. So I think what I'm going to do is, the majority of what's in this big bin will be in it'll probably fill up the majority of the finished end. And then I'll have to add the next portion of the wedge, and then so on, and then work it down. So this is kind of like starting over without starting over, if that makes any sense. But when I did this, I set it up to where I put ample amounts of stuff. It's already actually broke down quite a bit, because it was a lot taller than this. So it has broke down a lot. But this is the start to my finished end, which this is going to be my finished end. And then the next one that I build, this is going to be the finished end, because what I want to do, which I'm hoping will work to a point, is I want to stick like a little set of fans like up here on the wall that will help kind of dry out the finished ends both at the same time. So then that way I can collect from this one, and then I'll be able to collect from this side. It's going to be awkward because I usually go left to right, and this one's going to be right to left. So it's going to be backwards. But I wanted the finished ends both butted up next to each other when I build the next one of these for this wall. And then that way I can harvest both sides if I can figure out how to set up like a little fan situation that'll blow onto these two sides to help dry them out a little bit better. Just to, you know, make the process a tiny bit faster. Anyway, so let's get started. Okay, so the fun part's going to be moving what I got in this long bin into this one. I haven't quite figured out how I'm going to be doing that. I do have buckets, so I'm probably going to be just filling up buckets and getting them moved over. So I'll probably start with, their feed zone is here. That's the finished end. So I'll probably go up to a point in the bin where it's going to be pretty much the finished area, mostly finished anyway. And then I'll leave the feed zone that I have from the big bin and start that as my new feed zone, my next feed zone for in here. And I'm hoping this pocket should be okay. It's 6 mil, highest I could find for it. And as long as I don't have anything that's really super pokey, it should be okay. And I am trying to be as gentle as I possibly can, because there are little babies in here, but, you know, doing the best I can. The other reason why I get them moved out is because the bin that they're in with the wheels have their own like little lump area that kind of gives me fits when I'm trying to, you know, turn this batch over. And so I keep running into it, and I'm scared I've probably squished a couple. I don't know. It's possible I've squished some with that wheel spot. It's just gotten too much of a hassle with it. I don't know why that sounded like a door just closed. Okay, so we're going to start probably a little bit by little bit. So, got my bucket. And you can see, like, I've got a lot of little baby worms and stuff in here. Lots and lots of cocoons. I mean, there's, like, a lot in here. And like I said, it's still pretty wet when it comes to the bottom, so I am definitely going to start adding. I gotta figure out where I'm gonna put this, because that's on my table. I need something tall. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and put my cocoa. Oh, sorry, Meanie. Sorry, buddy. I'm gonna put my cocoa core right here. Oh, there. That way I can just go poof poof. Okay. So let's dump these little guys out. I know, I'm sorry I upset you all. You're going to a good place. So it's much bigger. I know it's kind of hard to see, but let me see if I can find one. There is literally cocoons all over the place in this pile. And I'm probably going to go a little bit by little bit of this cocoa core, so I don't add too much. Actually, what I need is my big bin, so I can actually, what I should do is probably just, of course, I had gotten this cocoa core wet, and I kind of forgot about it, and so it's kind of hardened inside the bucket. I do have to break it up a little bit. I get them too dry. But we're just gonna kind of mix it in there a little bit. Just to dry them up a little bit. I'm not kidding, this stuff is still really damp. And I've got all these little gnat bugs, so I'm hoping if I dry this out as well, it'll help with the gnats. Since it is pretty wet. That's one thing I like about these gloves, man. You can tell if it's too wet, too dry, if it's warm, cold. So they're actually really great gloves. I love them. I might have to add a little bit more in this bunch. Not much, but a little bit more. I know, guys, I'm sorry. You are not going to be happy campers for a little bit. And pretty much the nice thing what's going to happen is with them all on this end, when I do the feed zone, set up the feed zone, then they'll work their way over as this portion pretty much gets finished. Oh, they are not happy. Come on. Okay, so there's part of it. Yeah, I think I'm going to mix this in my big bin. It'll be a lot easier, actually. I forgot how tall I made this. How to make this, my husband make this thing. But I have to bend over a little bit, but it's not too bad. It's manageable. To a point, anyway. Okay, that dried that up pretty good. Gosh, there's so many cocoons. Okay. And I'm going to try and see if my big black bin works. Not quite. Yeah, not quite. This is actually a little whiter than what this is. But it will help. Try and mix this up. Oh, we got a worm left behind. Okay. It's also starting to get that smell again, so even though I've, that's why, the reason why I flipped it last night, because I noticed it was getting a little compact in the bin, and from all this moisture. We'll see how far this amount that I've got. God, look at all these cocoons. They're everywhere. We'll see how far this actually will make it. I don't know. We'll find out. No worms up behind. Might end up leaving some babies here and there. Some wormlings. But if we do, we do. It's not like it's going to be a huge... Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and place it in here. Actually be a lot easier. Oh, be a lot easier. I mean, I should have probably just left that on the floor and put the big bit on the side. I don't have to keep, but then I got to keep bending over. I don't want to do that either. Of course, this is also giving them more cocoa core to munch on. Since they ate the majority of what was in there. Oh, I need to move my chair a little bit. Okay. Oh, this one's a stretch. Flip the work in. Pick some of these up. Starts feeling a little drier than what it is. Leave it there. There are bits and pieces. The paper's still clumping. It's sucking up some of the moisture, so that's helping. You want to go slow when you do this, because you add too much, you gotta add more moisture. And then we're right back to square one of too much moisture. And I don't want to do that. So I'm going slow and steady, so that way I don't have to add any more moisture to this poor bin that has been fluctuated with too much moisture, not enough. Well, I never really not had enough. It's always been pretty consistent. I've been able to keep it pretty consistent, but with the different temperature in here and stuff as well, I noticed there is a slight difference, but basically the problem started when I added all the moisture to the bin for trying to get them to breed, and I haven't been able to catch up on it, or get it caught up anyway, to where it's back to moist but not clumpy moist. So it's still basically being a work in progress of trying to get back to not so moist. Especially now that I've got breeder bins, that their job is to breed. This one is to somewhat breed, but still work on the foods. Okay, I think, yeah, this is working. This is a little bit at a time. It's getting the consistency, getting it back. So it's not as moist anymore. So that is helping suck it up. For sure. But there is definitely so many cuckoos. And I checked in on my little breeder bins. I'm going to have to do the same thing with my breeder bins. My one breeder bin of red wigglers, when I checked in on them last night, I literally have clusters of cocoons. They're literally in clusters. Like, they just all decided to deposit their cocoons, like, right there. It's really weird, but it's just huge clusters of cocoons. And so I'm going to end up having to split them up as well, because with all those cocoons that are in there, it's going to overpopulate my bin by a lot. So I'm going to have to basically put them in a bigger bin. And for how prolific the red wigglers apparently are breeding, I'm probably going to make a bigger breeder bin below this bin and just have it on wheels where I can pull it out. What? Hi guys. So I hope you enjoyed the little snippets of what goes on around here, and uh, the barstool races are really fun. People come up with some crazy ideas on how to get down that hill. It's a really steep hill too. I like to hit up the rodeos and stuff and try to get, involved in our community and stuff. But uh, what happened was, I'm not sure exactly what happened, but I started off and then I got interrupted and I had to stop, and then I had to stop again to go do something else, and I swear I hit record, which I don't know what happened in the process of making this video. But I even missed out on the whole other portion that I swear I recorded as well, about explaining my new layout. And it's not there. So you only get to see a portion of what I was doing. And that sucks. Because it took me a little while. So I don't know. Anyway, things happen. Life gets crazy sometimes. But basically, in trying to do this, I'm gonna have to tell you exactly what I was doing. Um, my husband built me my new grandpa. Okay, so we finished that today, and so in the I was basically moving them all over into there. And what was not seen is the amount of stuff that I pulled out of original grandpa was like 22 and a half gallons worth. So it's quite a bit actually. And then it basically filled about half of that container, or the new housing. So it filled half of it, and then I fed them and set it up for my wedge system, basically resetting it up for the wedge system. But then after that, I went through, and I still swear I hit record, but I wound up having to split up my red wiggler breeders out of the bin that I had them in, because there's a lot of hatched out wormlings, and there's a bunch of other uh, cocoons in there. So what I don't want to happen is, because there's so many little baby wormlings in there, that I don't want the population to be too much with the breeders, the wormlings, and then the ones that are going to be hatching. So I decided to take out the breeders. Anyway, so I got that all done, and then I tried to show you what it looked like with the swamp worms bin now, since I've gotten them, which they wound up just going to town in that thing. So I figure in about a week or so, maybe even a month, no, about a week, I'll be moving them into another bin, so then the cocoons and stuff can hatch out. So, as I said, life happens to everybody, and it happened to me. It hit me hard today. I was looking for that footage, and I'm like going through, where did it go? And I'm like, oh no, did I actually hit record? And I didn't. So I only got a partial of everything that I did. So I'm sorry. But at least it gives you an idea what I was doing and how big of a setup that they were going into. At least they didn't get to see how much actually ended up with. But, it is what it is. Anyway, I hope you all have a great one, and I'll see you in the next video.